Since 1989, Canada's first televised motorcycle magazine has been covering everything on two wheels. We've sampled new motorcycles from around the globe, toured North America from coast to coast, and interviewed some of the most interesting people on two wheels. So get set to keep your right hand cranked as Toyota Truck presents Motorcycle Experience. Hello and welcome to Motorcycle Experience, the voice of motorcyclists everywhere. I'm Dave Hatch, and this week spring has definitely arrived here in Prince Edward County, which means it's time for that very first exciting ride of the year. As for our ride of the week, today we're going to take a look at Suzuki's new GSX-R 600. Also this week, my good friend Norm Wells and I will bring you another entry in our BMW MOTORRAD Ultimate Riding Tour Diary from sunny Newfoundland. Last week we rode southeast out of St. Johns to check out the easternmost point in North America, Cape Spear. Today we're continuing on further south to one of the oldest European settlements in North America. And speaking of ultimate rides, remember last week in round 2 in our Ultimate Challenge series, my arch rival Brian Hudgen used a low-riding Yamaha Striker to tackle the dreaded Sandpit Oval and had a little difficulty. Well, this week Brian's back with his secret weapon and ready to take another crack at it. Plus, later on, Aliki Carrion will continue her series on helping you get into motorcycling, while our roving reporter Paul Connert will head up to Port Perry, Ontario, to introduce us to another loyal viewer. But first, we start the show with our Ride of the Week, Suzuki Canada's all-new GSX-R 600. Suzuki first launched the Gixxer 600 some 10 years ago, and boy has this puppy come a long way over the past decade. Throughout those years, both on pro and amateur road racing circuits around the world, Suzuki engineers have used the racetrack as their primary platform for R&D, and as a result, this middleweight contender has been continually refined. Recently, the GSX-R 600 received the same upgrades as its big brother, the GSX-R 750, with under-the-tank engine tweaks promising broader power delivery, improved throttle response, lower emissions, and about 10% better in the fuel mileage category. There's also the new Suzuki Drive Mode Selector, which offers 2 pre-programmed engine maps with the push of a button. The baby Gixxer was also fitted with all-new big piston Showa suspension bits and a new Trick racetrack-ready Brembo braking system. On paper, the bike looks fantastic. I mean, ready to rock. But how does it work out in the real world? Well, for that info, we asked former amateur road racer and longtime viewer Mark Russell to fill in the blanks.
So Mark, GSX-R 600, brand new sport bike. I know it's been a few years since you've been riding a sport bike. What was your first impression coming back to the brand?
I was amazed at how fast sport bikes are. I don't remember them being that fast. It's way beyond what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as the size of the bike for a 600cc sport bike, what did you think in terms of the first impression that way?
Well, that's a real new plus. This is a lot smaller than bikes were 5 or 10 years ago, and small is way better for a sport bike, and it's what I'm more familiar with. Mm-hmm. Really compact, really tight, comfortable enough to sit on, but I really appreciated the small size.
Right. So let's talk about the riding impression. You fired it up and off we went. What did you think of the engine?
The sound sounds like an engine working, which is new as well, because 5 or 10 years ago these bikes were all so quiet. You couldn't hear anything except the transmission.
Right.
And actually when you saw bikes like this on the track, that's about all you heard as well. And this actually has an exhaust sound. You can hear it inside the helmet. When you go through the gears and you rev it up, you can hear it and you feel like you're doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
So lots of power through the gears?
There's way more than anybody needs. This is a 600. I don't know what the horsepower is. It's more than anybody could possibly need. And the acceleration is just stunning. If you go from cruising along to downshift a gear or two and open the throttle, it's practically frightening how much power comes in.
Right. How about the clutch and the shifting? How did you find that?
It's all pretty easy. You can upshift without the clutch. Clutch seemed to be necessary for downshifting. I fiddled around with the positioning of the shifter because I found that made a difference for comfort and fit, which was easy to do. You could use the tools in the seat and make adjustments that way.
Yeah. Brakes, Brembo brakes up front, plenty of stopping power, feel.
I'm sure you can stand it up on its front wheel with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm certain of that. Super good feel, good tire grip as well, so you can make use of all that brake. I have to confess, I didn't touch the back brake all day. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem necessary.
Right. Clearly this is built for, single-purpose, racetrack ready. But let's talk about the riding position, because of course on the track, comfort really isn't a factor, but what about on the street?
I was comfortable riding around. I did notice on the street there's one place to sit, and that's right up on the tank. There's lots of room to move back, but you just slide forward. There's no point. On the track you would push yourself back there and hold yourself there on a straightaway, but
right.
You feel more a part of the bike up there,
mm-hmm.
and it's comfortable enough. So really the comment is there's lots of room, but I'm not sure what it's for.
So this bike comes with the new mode selector, and that allows you to kick back the torque a little bit if you're in wet riding conditions, or you're in a tighter track condition, I guess. Did you get a chance to play with that?
I played with that when we were riding around through town as a group, and I switched to the B mode, which is the lower horsepower, I assume softer torque delivery mode, and it's noticeable. That's probably what would be ideal for city riding. It's just an easier delivery of power. Mm-hmm. On a track you might use that on a rainy day, or you might use it on a track that's particularly tighter.
Right. What did you think of the fit and finish of this bike?
The fit on this bike is pretty spectacular, and some of the little details are really clever and really nicely finished. Just simple things like the mirrors are inside housings, and so you're adjusting only the mirror, not the whole thing. Nice little carbon fiber covers covering up the motor and actually blocking some heat from coming up on your legs.
Right.
It's really nicely done.
So what's going to be the one lasting impression?
This bike is brutally fast.
Right. Okay, well I'll take that as a thumbs up.
Yeah, it was good.
Thanks for helping
Dave.
out.
I had fun.
Good stuff, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Great job. Now don't touch that remote. There's still plenty more experience still ahead. Next, during our visit to Newfoundland, we grab a bite in a picturesque little town on the eastern shore of the Avalon Peninsula. Stay with us. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Honda, BMW MOTORRAD, Closed captioning of this program is provided by Motovan. Welcome back as Total Truck presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now for this week's ultimate ride from Newfoundland. Today, Norm and I are going to check out Petty Harbor and Maddox Cove. Okay, so as you know, recently Norm and I kicked off yet another ultimate ride when we touched down in St. Johns, Newfoundland. Last week we checked out 2 National Historic Sites. Scenic Signal Hill with its Cabot Tower, located at the entrance to St. John's Harbor, and Cape Spear, the most eastern point in North America, and home to one of the oldest surviving lighthouses in Newfoundland. During our visit there, we were delighted to discover that Cape Spear is also home to a way cool World War II gun battery, located just a short walk from its lighthouse. From there, we mounted up and continued south along the Avalon Peninsula to the tiny fishing village of Petty Harbor and Maddox Cove. Again, it was time for another history lesson, as we soon discovered that this area has been continuously occupied since 1598, making it one of the oldest European settlements in North America. Today, the village is also home to a great little eatery that serves up everything from clam chowder to moose burgers.
Well, Norm, here we are in Petty Harbor, and I have to say, when we talked about coming to Newfoundland, this is what I imagined. It's just a beautiful, beautiful postcard here.
Yeah, very typical coastal fishing village, and this one's still very active. You can see from all the boats, so it's very cool to see.
Yeah, and today has just been all about St. John's, the scenery around it, you know, with Cape Spear and Signal Hill, and now here. Definitely you can spend a day here.
Oh, easily, yeah, and you know, we said when you come to Newfoundland, plan a full day here. You're not going to do a lot of mileage because everything is pretty close, but you just spend so much time at these historical sites, you know, reading about everything, because there's probably 20 plaques at every place we stopped at with all the information about the area. So yeah, definitely a full day just in the general area of St. John's.
And be prepared to sample all kinds of things you've never had before, besides Aunt Millie's cookies. I mean, I just had a moose sandwich at Chafe's Lounge. That was unbelievable.
And you've had cod tongue, and you've had fish and brews, so you're sampling it all out here.
Yeah, so lots of great hospitality, and we even had Phil. Thanks, Phil. Had to ensure that we get the ice caps in. So yeah, it's just been a terrific day. Great start.
Absolutely, yeah. And then now we're just about done for the day. We have a couple hours ahead of us now to get to Clarenville, which is going to be base camp for tonight, and get us ready for tomorrow's run up to Bonavista, which is going to be probably a lot more of this. As we get further away from St. John's and out onto the coastal areas, you'll see a lot more of this very typical picturesque Newfoundland landscape. Okay,
well, so far, perfect weather, perfect riding, and I got about 60 beautiful pictures. Great memories, thanks.
Perfect.
Next week, we'll pick up our journey when heading up to Bonavista. We make a stop at another historic fishing village, Trinity. My goodness, significant heritage community does not even come close to describing this place. Folks from Poole, England started coming here each summer starting back in the early 1700s. It's a shame that Norm and I only discovered it on this trip, because man, it's picture perfect. Still ahead, we get down and dirty as Brian Hudgen tackles challenge number 2, and Aliki Carrion goes back to school. Welcome back as Toyota Truck presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now for the learning curve. And this week, Aliki is hanging up her leathers for a day in the dirt. During this season of Motorcycle Experience, we've asked reporter Aliki Carrion to explore the current crop of motorcycle training options out there for those of you who have been thinking about perhaps taking up the sport of motorcycling. For the past couple of weeks, Aliki's been exploring one of the most direct routes we know to getting your motorcycle license, a traditional Ministry of Transport approved rider training course. This week, however, Aliki has come up with a really interesting alternative to getting into the sport of motorcycling: dirt riding. That's right, how about a day in the dirt? More specifically, taking a school at the Ontario Off-Road Adventure Facility, located about an hour east of Toronto in the Ganaraska Forest. Headed up by Chief Instructor Steve Waycamp, the Trail Tour School has been operating for some 16 years and trains over 3,000 riders each summer. So let's say you've never ridden a motorcycle, you don't own any riding gear, but you'd like to see what riding a motorcycle is all about before making the bigger commitment to writing your motorcycle exam. Well, this just may be the course for you, because it doesn't get any more turnkey than this.
So how long would you say it takes for somebody who's never sat on a motorbike before or a dirt bike before? How long does it take them to learn the clutch and actually start riding around with some confidence?
If they're a true beginner, we get them through a curriculum, and in the morning for 2 hours we do drill after drill, exercise after exercise, and we get them to a point where they're quite confident. But every single person is different, so every individual gets treated individually, and we make sure that they're all learning at their level, even within that beginner group. So some people take on to things really quickly, other people it takes them a while to get it. So we just try to work with people. And normally at noon, after lunch, we get back out and we actually hit trail. Not wide, or not single track or nothing too extreme, but it's wide, nice, maybe 10, 11, 12 feet wide. And we get them onto the trails and they just experience what this Ganaraska has to offer. 11,000 acres, about 200 kilometers of trails. It's a beautiful place. And then they have the best of everything. They got the experience of trail riding, they got all the training, and they have a really good day.
You know what I found really cool is that all I had to do was just show up with my credit card.
Yeah, that's a lot of people say that, and it's something we take major pride in because it's one of the only places that you can do that at. We have the all-you-can-eat lunch. We got all the riding gear from head to toe. There's about $1,600 worth of riding gear that we provide, and the bikes, of course, are provided. And if you go a lot of other places, they end up giving you a cruddy little helmet, open face, maybe a pair of goggles if you're lucky, maybe a pair of gloves, and that's it, and they just let you go. And but it doesn't really work very well that way because you get a lot of injuries, and we're making sure that we give the customers what they need. You need to have elbow pads, knee pads, chest protectors, boots, the right equipment, helmet, goggles, gloves. Makes all the difference for a good experience.
For an absolute beginner, would you recommend this as a great way to learn to ride or get a taste for riding?
I think it would be an amazing way to get a taste for riding. Not only are you learning things that you wouldn't on a street bike course, but it's setting you up for a really enjoyable, positive, I think it would be a much more enjoyable time at the street bike course once you did get there, because you'll be well ahead of all the other students and you'll be able to handle the bike's major controls like clutch, brake, and throttle, but you'll also be able to handle all the things that they don't know about, and that's traction control and clutch control and things like that. So it's very much an important factor, I think.
Well, thanks very much for taking your time to talk to me.
You're very welcome.
Now, you may recall that a couple of years ago, Motorcycle Experience toured the north shore of the St. Lawrence, from Kingston all the way down to Quebec City, and visited more than a few forts and historic 1812 battlefield sites along the way. So, in honor of the upcoming War of 1812 bicentennial this summer, June 18th marks the actual declaration of the war, we're going to launch a brand new Riders Club contest. That's right, this year we're calling it the 1812 Riders Club Contest. To enter, all you have to do is visit the motorcycleexperience.ca website and join our email Riders Club. Just like past winners John Verway of Pickering, Ontario, and Patrick Frampton of Vancouver did. If you're already a Motorcycle Experience Riders Club member, then just reconfirm your email address, and that's it. You've entered. On June 3rd, we'll pick our winner. This year's prize is an exclusive MV Augusta prize pack, including a limited edition hardcover book and helmet. Now that's Italian. Next, Brian Hudgen hits the dusty trail. Stay with us. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Honda, BMW MOTORRAD. Welcome back as Total Truck presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and a couple of weeks ago, Brian Hudgen and I kicked off a series of 6 challenges designed to put Brian's riding skills to the ultimate test. In round 1 of our competition, held at the Horseshoe Riding Adventure facility just north of Barrie, Ontario, Brian completed the slow pillion cruiser ride in the allotted time to win. However, last week during round 2's quarter-mile oval run, things didn't quite go Brian's way. His feet touched down on more than one occasion, and that was a no-no. It was time once again to call in the lifeline, aka riding instructor Clinton SMOUT.
Well, Brian, as you recall in our first challenge, we introduced you to Clinton SMOUT. He's one of the top riding instructors in Canada. He's taught over 40,000 people how to ride a motorcycle. I think he can help you get through this challenge. What do you advise?
I agree. A few tips, Brian, and you'll be able to do it. And it's nothing that other street riders don't experience because we're so used to a defined steering response that pavement gives us. When we get in a situation of construction zones or gravel roads, it freaks us out and we want to roll off the throttle. That's what our brain's telling us to do. What we want you to try to get through this extreme deep sand is to get on the throttle, which is counterintuitive, but it'll work. So if you could try the following things. Squeeze with the knees, so you're tight lower body to the bike. That'll give you some confidence and balance. Loosen the grip, which is currently white knuckled on the bars because we're nervous, because we're not used to the wheel doing this. So relax your grip and then get on the gas. It's like a boat in the water. If you roll off the boat's throttle, the bow sinks into the wave, steering's very sluggish. That's what your bike is doing in gravel and sand. So give it gas, which elongates the front suspension, puts the weight back, and it allows that front tire to skim across the sand. You may feel it wobbling a little, let it go. As long as you're going basically west, loosen your grip and let it go. I think with those tips, you might be able to do this with your feet up and pass the challenge.
Okay, Brian, you got 4 things to work on, all right? Keep your eyes up, stay on the gas, squeeze with your knees, and remember to stay loose. You all set?
Yep, for sure, man. Here we go.
Off you go. Much better. Look at this, no jerkiness through here. Let's see how he handles this one. Not bad. I think he might win this. Let's see how he does here. He dabbed last time. Piece of cake.
Rear brake only. Very smooth.
Much better.
Bravo.
Well, Brian, I hate to say this, but I think you've won the challenge.
I think I did.
Nicely done. Good work, Clinton.
Thanks, Dave. Huge improvement, Brian. Good job.
Thanks, Clinton.
Now don't get too cocky. That's only 2 down. There's still 4 to go. Next week we hit the woods.
Ooh, I'm so scared, Hatch.
You should be.
Well, with that win, Brian's off to a great start, with the score now running 2-0 for Brian. However, I'm not worried because for round 3 in our 6-part challenge, we're off to the woods, where I've got a little GPS action hidden up my sleeve. Okay, here we go, fingers crossed. Nice, I like it when it starts first time. That's it for this week's program, folks. We're all out of time. We leave you now with our roving reporter, Paul Connert. This week he's in Port Perry, Ontario. He's found a very nice Virago. Until next week, keep your feet on the pegs and your right hand cranked. Bye for now.
Dave, I've got a really unusual bike for you this evening. I'm here with Gary Baronian. Gary, tell us about your motorcycle.
Well, I'd have to call it a Ken Staples special. Ken Staples built 3 of these in '99, identical bikes. Started off as an 83 750 Virago. It was based on the Stealth Warplane, as you can see with the line designs on it.
What do you like about this motorcycle?
I would have to say the body lines, but my number 1 is a square tube exhaust on it.
So you must get a lot of looks when you ride this bike around town. Now tell us about that.
Well, it's a big time head turn. I've been stopped a few times, people asking about the bikes. Today I had a model was posing, taking pictures. She asked if she can pose with the bike.
Well, that's certainly good. Why do you come to Hoggins on Thursday nights?
I enjoy the ride up here, coming here and meeting other people that ride bikes.
Well, it's certainly a very interesting piece. Thanks for bringing it out tonight.